Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the second flight of Helix Demo 2. I'm Cole Stadler, also known as Mission Control, the founder of Eclipse Space and your host for today's launch webcast.
I'm Michael Macker, a member of the Eclipse Space GNC team and your co-host for today. We're preparing for hopefully a very exciting launch in a few minutes, so let's go over our goals for today's launch.
Yeah, so our main goal for today is to make it further than we did during Helix Demo 1, ideally all the way up to payload deploy. The payload for today is pretty much the same thing we had on Helix Demo 1, with some minor upgrades in response to some vibrations that we observed during last flight.
So, to recap, our payload is the Eclipse Technological Demonstrator, or ETD. The ETD's main purpose is to validate Eclipse Space's ability to design, build, launch, and operate a spacecraft. ETD will test many systems like solar cells, phased arrays, RCS, and more.
Now let's talk about Helix Demo 1, what it accomplished, and the reason for the early end of flight. On July 25th, 2026, at 2:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Helix lifted off on its inaugural flight. The ascent went as planned, with all 5 Otter engines running nominally. A little over 2 minutes into the flight, the first stage engines cut off and the 2 stages separated. The second stage engine ignited without issue, but early into its burn, off nominal temperature conditions in the engine's nozzle caused an automatic shutdown of the engine, bringing an unfortunate end to the flight. The flight had a lot of firsts for Eclipse, and we are happy with how far we got for our first attempt, but let's hope we can make it a little farther this time.
Yeah, we'll have to see how far we get today over the next few minutes, so let's talk about what you can expect from the flight. At T-minus 1 minute and 15 seconds, the vehicle will enter startup, and the 5 Otter engines will then ignite at T-minus 4 seconds, followed by liftoff of Helix. Helix will then pass through the maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle, also known as max Q, at T plus 59 seconds, and at T-minus 2 minutes and 11 seconds will be MECO, or most engine cutoff, followed by stage separation and second engine startup. The fairings will then separate, and after a long burn from the second stage will cut off, and after all that is done, Helix will be in space.
Now, just like last flight, we do want to emphasize that today's flight is a test flight. Anything is possible, and success is not guaranteed. So don't be surprised if the flight doesn't go perfectly today. Now, you may recall that today actually wasn't our original launch date. We were originally going to try to launch on Wednesday, but during some pre-flight tanking tests that we performed a few days before launch, we discovered a few off-nominal conditions in Helix's first stage aft section. That's the area near the engines of Helix's first stage. It was a really easy fix. We just brought the vehicle back to the HIF, which is our horizontal integration facility, got the issue fixed, did some pad testing yesterday, and we're all good to go now. Everything is looking good.
The Eclipse Space team has spent a long time preparing for this flight, but preparations are already underway for the next flights, with the stages for the next flight already completing cryo testing and the stages for the flight after that currently in production.
And starting with Flight 4's vehicles, we will be moving all Stage 2 testing to our facility in New Mexico. We hope that this will increase cadence as it will free up the launch site for more Stage 1 testing and more flights. Now coming up, we have a few events. First, the Strongback's claw that is currently around the vehicle will retract. After that, we should hear callouts from our launch director that both stages have completed fueling. So let's look out and listen for those events.
Strong back claw retract. Stage 1 propellant load complete. Stage 2 propellant load complete.
And as you just heard, both stages are now fully fueled. We are currently tracking no issues as we approach startup of Helix.
Vehicle is in startup.
As you just heard, Helix is in startup, the tanks are pressurized for the flight, and the vehicle now has control of the countdown.
Launch director is go for launch.
And we are go for launch. Godspeed, Helix.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Ignition. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Stage 1 outer chamber pressure nominal.
We have 5 Otter engines running nominally as Helix makes its way to space. Incredible views of the vehicle flying eastward, coming up on max Q now.
Max Q.
And as you just heard, we are now through max Q, and the aerodynamic loads will start to decrease as Helix makes its way to the thinner parts of the atmosphere.
Now coming up will be 3 events that happen in quick succession. First will be main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation, and after that the second stage engine will ignite. You're seeing those Otter engines throttle down slightly in preparation for MECO.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. Second engine start.
As you have just seen, we have had a successful separation and second stage ignition. The second stage engine is going to be firing for a little over 3 minutes, and everything is looking good.
Yeah, so that second stage engine is still firing nominally, meaning that we now have made it farther than we did last flight.
Fairing separation confirmed.
As you just saw from those amazing views, the fairings have separated, exposing the payload to the vacuum of space.
You can see that engine on there wiggle around a little bit. That is actually the engine gimbaling to control and steer the second stage so that the stage remains on its correct trajectory.
Seco.
And we have Seco. Helix is officially in space.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And as you also just heard, we are in a nominal orbit. Congratulations to the entire Eclipse Space team for such an important milestone.
Yeah, this is huge. The team has been working hard to get here, and now it's paid off, and the mission isn't over yet.
Yeah, so in about 20 minutes, we will have one more burn for that second stage, and that will be followed by payload deployment. So we are going to take a short commentary break until that burn.
But don't worry, while we're gone, you guys get to enjoy the great views from Helix's onboard cams and some space jams. In the meantime, we will see you very soon.
Sorry to interrupt the music, but we are coming up on our second and final second stage burn ahead of payload deploy.
So this burn will be quite short, only lasting a few seconds. The main purpose of the burn is to slightly raise Helix's apoapsis slightly so that we have the desired orbit for our payload.
Second engine start. Seco.
And there's the end of that burn. Helix will now reorient itself for payload deployment. The deployment is expected to happen in about a minute from now. As you can see, Helix now oriented for payload deployment.
Payload deployment confirmed.
And there you have it, a successful payload deployment to close out a successful flight.
Congrats to the entire team. You deserve to be very proud of yourselves. This Eclipse space is now open for business. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure to follow our X account for any updates on today's flight, testing, or any future flights. We'll be posting a few photos and videos from the mission throughout the next few days. Today has been a great day, and we hope to see you during the next flight. Thank you, and goodbye.